All right. I think we got it all going here. Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. And we're kind of putting it all together with what do you call. What's that saying? There's a saying. I can't think of the name of it. There's a saying, though. It's supposed to be something putting it together with bobby pins and. Nah, that's not it. That's not it. Hey, James, good to see you. Hey, thank you all for joining me. It's pretty cool to have you here. We're doing this remotely today, primarily because it's Super Bowl Sunday. Secondarily, because a little bit of a crazy day, a lot of stuff going on. So we decided, we would do it from here. I hope that all of you are having a good day. Hey, Jerry. Hey, Robert. Good to see you. I think next Sunday, Jerry Mitchell will be speaking. And it's going to be kind of a cool give and take thing there on the believers' responsibility to protect themselves, their families, and their communities. So I think you're going to like that. I know that you're going to like that for sure. I want to do a couple things first, and I don't know how many of you are looking in on this from, hey, Mike, hey, William. How many of you are looking on this from the, your followers, but you're not? I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what all you can see. Let me put this down a little bit. I feel like I'm looking way up at y'all. Y'all are awesome, but I don't think you want to see me lifting my head all day long. Let's see here. Hey, Colleen. Hey, Jennifer. That's a red-blooded American girl right there. Appreciate all you do for patriotism and stuff, but I'm sure many of you by now have seen the video that I did in which we told you what the circumstance was with me, and I have received thousands of messages, notes, people that have my address have sent lovely things to my home, cards, just amazing people. And I really, really appreciate it. It means the world to me. I plan on keeping on doing this as long as I can. I just started a treatment not that long ago. By the way, kudos to Dr. Marangel. Dr. Marangel, I have a great medical team, just so you know. Dr. Marangel, world-renowned, multidisciplinary doctor. Also, Dr. Carrick and Dr. Hudson and Dr. Trent Ryan. So these are all world-class people. These are top-notch. These are the best of the best. And so I want you to know I'm a really lucky guy to have them and all the people that work with them. They're phenomenal. Just really, really phenomenal. So also to all the people around the world who have wished me well, I really appreciate that. It means the world to me. We have good days and we have bad days. The bad days suck. There's no other way to put it. The bad days really, really suck. By the way, can somebody give me some feedback? Is this coming in clear? Can you hear me well? Is the sound all right? I don't want to have crappy sound. I'm sensitive about that. I'm just sensitive. I miss our live audience, just so you know. Hey, Dina. I miss our live audience. I like having a bunch of people, whether it's 20,000 people in front of me or 8. Doesn't matter. Just like people. I really like people. So I wanted to address that video really quick because there's been a lot of people that have asked me, what can we do? Is there anything that can be done? They've suggested treatments and therapies and stuff, and I really appreciate that. Hey, Tom and Brian, and hey, there's Lynette. Lynette's got me in a lot of trouble in my life. Just wanting you to know that. Thank you, Jennifer. I really appreciate it. So ultimately, I've settled in on treatment from Dr. Trent Ryan. He's a functional neurologist, and Dr. Jeffrey Marangel of Bioenergy Med in Pennsylvania, and Dr. Carrick, really unbelievable practitioner, and Dr. Tracy Hudson down in Lewis, Delaware. Amazing people. They're phenomenal. As many of you know from my last video, I started a therapy. Let me get this going. We have chat open on Spreaker. I keep forgetting to open it, but it is open now. And the Spreaker apps are free, by the way. Anyway, that said to say this, that we settled in on all of those doctors. We're doing all natural treatments and an adjunct therapy that I'm going to tell you more about as time goes on. But so far, so good. It's pretty flippin' amazing. So I can't wait to tell you about that as we have more time to build a little bit of a history with it. I don't want to say too much about it now, but it is so far so good. Really, really amazing. Now, do I hold out any delusion? Do I have any delusion in my head about, well, this will save your life? I don't know. I don't think so. I think I'm going into that and all the other adjunct treatments and primary treatments with a clear head. But the thing is anything that can give me better quality of life, anything that can give me really and truly just a better way to go, more vibrance, longer ability to do photography and be with my family and my dear friends, all of you, so many of you, golly, so lucky. I said this during the original video. I'm super, super lucky because I know what it is to have amazing friends. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that don't have the number and the quality of friends that I have. So really super lucky, really, really super lucky. All that said, obviously I would prefer a different outcome. I'm going to keep doing this as long as I can, just so you know. But I would prefer a different outcome. That would be great. And I haven't ruled out. A lot of people said, "Hey, you're forgetting on the healing power of God and all that stuff and the power of healing." But let me just say this, that I haven't forgotten that. I understand and appreciate why people would say that, but I haven't forgotten it. What the deal is what a lot of you don't know, and I understand you don't know because we haven't told you. Hey, Kent, how are you? A lot of you don't know because we haven't told you, but we've known this for a while, and it's starting to get more obvious, and people are starting to notice things. So that's why I came out and told the public. Not that I'm some big celebrity, because I'm not. But the point is we've known for a long time, and we hoping, incorrect diagnosis, wrong prognosis, all that stuff. But it's not wrong. It's clearly and obviously. Hey, Myra. Clearly and obviously. I'll be seeing you next Sunday. It's clearly and obviously the deal. I mean, it's factual. We've done our homework, and there's been many, many confirmations and second, third, fourth, seventh, eighth opinion. So, we're gonna proceed forward believing the truth and accepting that and doing the best we can to do the best we can. So now that that's out of the way, thank you to all of you who have sent me just some of the brightest, sweetest notes. Amazing. You people are amazing. So we put a thing in the it's in the announcement. Due to the Super Bowl, I will not be preaching at the Kehalah this evening. That's in Newark, Delaware. If you'd still like to donate to help me spread the word of the Lord, please consider donating. And then we give the PayPal thing. You can click on that and give whatever you can. Now, here's what you give to. Obviously, our broadcast and the website and all that stuff. That's no doubt. That's costly. I mean, all the stuff we do is costly. Obviously, Facebook Live is free, but everything else costs money. In addition to that, I love giving away Bibles. I really love it. My mother started me on it when I saw her doing it, and growing up as a little kid. And I know that it's a shock that people don't have a Bible, but they don't. Many of my Catholic friends, I have a lot of Catholic friends. Many of my Catholic friends, they've told me many times they don't have a Bible. So, I mean, that stuns me, but at the same time, I see it as opportunity. I love that. Then I have Catholic friends that read the Bible all the time. I mean, they outread me day in and day out. But there's people and they're not necessarily poor people. They just don't have access to a Bible. But many of them are poor. Many are in war-torn places like Syria, we got to send one to Syria, which was awesome. We've sent them all around the world. This is pretty cool, and maybe you're listening. We have, hey, Mr. Moody, we have a book club in Belgium, okay? And not a real center point for a lot of faith. However, this book club read my book, Excellence Killed the Church, How Mediocrity is Destroying America. It's available on Amazon and all those places. They read my book as part of their book club, but here's what's funny. They were an atheist group. A group of 13 people. Originally, I thought it was 13 ladies, but it's not 13 ladies. I was wrong about that. It's just 13 people, predominantly ladies. But they were an atheist or atheist group. So, who knew? Now they're not. Yeah, that makes me happy. So we sent them Bibles. And now if they're watching or listening on Spreaker, thank you for giving me the opportunity to do that. We sent them awesome Bibles. I don't buy junk for anything, really. I like quality things, and I like to give quality things. I don't like to give away junk. I think it's several cases now we've done. Well, we just gave away the last Bible. The first cases of Bibles that we had were $60 a piece. You might say, gosh, that's a lot. Hey, Clark. Hey, David. You might say, well, that's a lot, man. Jeez, that's a lot of money for a Bible. Well, it's really not a lot of money for a Bible. Really and truly, I like to give away really high quality Bibles that are going to last a long time. Leather bound, Smythe binding. Hey, Grandma Ann, good to have you watching. I like to give those away and Break a Leg to Beth, upcoming performance. I forget the name of the show, but it's at the Everett Theater. She's Sister Act. She's in that, and she'll be at the Everett Theater in Middletown, Delaware. I think it's February 8th, so you can look that up under the Everett Theater, really historic theater. And Beth will do great. All the cast members do great. So hello to all you. But originally the first several cases were $60 a piece. My cost, buying them in cases. So Smythe binding, leather, all of that stuff. And so we would just give them away. We would just send them. So it cost us, depending on where we sent it, I remember when we sent the Bible to Syria, it cost me $38 in shipping. But it got there in 2 weeks, which is amazing to a war zone. Other places that are not as expensive to do. And obviously, if it's close by, I'll deliver it myself. I'm glad to do it. But we have a new Bible and I haven't talked to them. It's Barry Seif, S-E-I-F, and Dr. Barry, she's a Facebook friend. I don't know her personally. And then Dr. Jeffrey. And Dr. Jeffrey Seif and Dr. Barry are part of bringing this Tree of Life Bible to market. Well, they have a particular Bible that's $40, currently $40 a piece. And it's wonderful. It's well made. It's a beautiful Bible. And so I really want to give that away too. Hey, Pat, I would like to give that away. Obviously, for less money, we can give more Bibles away. So we haven't talked to the Tree of Life publishers yet. I think it's Baker Publishing. But, we'd like to buy a few cases of those and give those away. And we can obviously give away more at $40 a pop. And maybe they will give it to us for less money if we buy a case or two cases per Bible. So I want to do that. So that's where you can do it, the donate thing. I put it on the Facebook Live thing, I think, the announcement up there. Well, maybe not. The announcement I was going to do a Facebook Live. And I'll tell you what I'll do. In the comments, I will put it on the comments of this Facebook Live. Anyway, Calvin Hobbes said, I've been thinking, if only 11 million people have Obamacare, how will 24 million people die if it's repealed? Will an additional 13 million people be randomly shot? I've been thinking, if Donald Trump deleted all of his emails, wiped his server with BleachBit, and destroyed all of his phones with a hammer, would the mainstream media suddenly lose all interest in the story and declare him innocent? Well, I've been thinking, if women do the same job for less money, why do companies hire men to do the same job for more money? I've been thinking, if women do the same, you get this, right? You get where I'm going, the same job for that. Why do companies hire men for more money. And I've been thinking, if you rob a bank in a sanctuary city, is it illegal or is it just an undocumented withdrawal? Well, now I've been thinking, we should stop calling them all entitlements. Welfare, food stamps, WIC, ad nauseum. They're not entitlements. They are taxpayer-funded handouts and shouldn't be called entitlements at all. Social Security and veterans benefits, they are entitlements because the people receiving them are entitled to them. They were earned and they were paid for by the recipients. Well, I've been thinking, if Muslims want to run away from a Muslim country, does that mean they're Islamophobic? Well, I've been thinking, if liberals don't believe in biological gender, then why do they march for women's rights? Well, I've been thinking, how did the Russians get Debbie Wasserman Schultz and the DNC to steal the primary from Bernie Sanders? How did Russia get Donna Brazile to leak debate questions to Hillary Clinton in advance of the debates? Well, now I've been thinking, why is it the Democrats think superdelegates are fine, but they have a problem now with the Electoral College? Now, I've been thinking, if you don't want the FBI involved in elections, don't nominate someone who's been investigated by the FBI. Now, I've been thinking, if Hillary's speeches cost $250,000, now there's others, $500,000 an hour, how come no one shows up for her free ones? I mean, she does book signings and they're free to come to. How come nobody comes to those? Now, I've been thinking, the DNC, the Democrat National Committee, is mad at Russia because they think they're trying to manipulate our election by exposing that the DNC is manipulating our election. Now, I've been thinking, if Democrats don't want foreigners involved in our elections, why do they think it's all right for illegals to vote? Yeah, Calvin Hobbes says, I'm going to stop thinking for a while because it's making my head hurt. I agree. Hey, Sherry. Hey, Laurie. Hey, Marcia. Sharon. Good to see you. Let me go click this, make sure we're still on Spreaker. I'm trying like anything to make the sound better and all that for Spreaker folks and also for Facebook Live. We're trying to figure out what we're going to do about a microphone to make it work better and sound better instead of just hearing from the microphone from that. We'll do all we can. So you remember at the end of the last message last week, I was teaching about why was she punished so severely? That's my dog about to kill somebody. Why was she punished so severely? So why? Why was she punished so severely? Well, I wanted to get to this point, and we just have so much to get out there. We usually go for an hour, and we probably won't go for an hour today, but I like to give you a lot of information. Hey, Steve, how you doing? I like to give you a lot of information, but I didn't get to this. So God punished Miriam so severely because he's teaching us that God doesn't dispense one-size-fits-all justice. Now, this is going to freak you all out. Every individual is judged uniquely according to his or her abilities and potential. And for someone like Miriam, this behavior, which in an average person would be actually considered to be meritorious, really and truly. But in this case, it's considered sinful. Consider the way a small stain may not even be noticeable in a plaid shirt, but it'll stand out and say, I have this plaid shirt on. Now, I'm going to take this off before I start eating football food. I'm going to take this off. You know why? Because I spill a lot. I'm a spiller. However, if I wear a different kind of shirt, you won't see it so much, right? Stain doesn't stand out. On a white shirt, beautiful white shirt. Hey, John. Well, here's the thing. Miriam is the white shirt. This is a wrongdoing so slight it might not even be noticed in another person. But it stands out so sharply against her pristine background. So now we're caught up. So now you know where we are, what we're doing. So maybe the thrust of this remembrance is this, that remember, God dispenses justice to all, even the greatest and the holiest. Look, they can't get away with doing wrong. And remember that God's justice is custom tailored to each individual based on who the person is and what God expects from him or her. That's interesting, isn't it? The covenant with God's people is illuminated in chapters and verses 27, 1 through 30, In verse 20, the curses of certain behavior is frightfully recorded in 27:11 through 26, contrasting with chapter 28, this is Deuteronomy, promises of obedience. So if you want to go back, you can listen for free. If you're watching on Facebook Live, you can go back on my timeline and you can find all those and click on save. Remember to save them. Part 3 leads you up to this. It's all free. Everything I do is free. www.drseangreener, DrShawngreener.com. You can go there. They're all populated there. Also to YouTube. I think they populate there. The Ninja Pastor on YouTube. So whatever you do, we're going to try to do more. We're going to try to do a weekly, weekly as I'm able, updating you on what's going on with my health and all that, how we're doing, different thoughts that I'm having, share that experience with you. So all those things are important to bookmark if you want to keep up with that. Hey, Benjamin, great guy. Benjamin Rush, good dude. Good dude. Hey, John. So immediately following chapter 28, verse 14, to the end of chapter 28, the price for disobedience is itemized in great detail. Can't say we don't know. The exhortation to the Israelites, it's very ominous, as recorded in chapter 28, 58 through 68, and again, chapter 30, 11 through 30. Now, it's ominous. Let me go back to this, because there's some questions on this I'm seeing pop up on the screen. Not this screen, but the other screen. People are sending me messages. How is it fair? How is it fair that that God judged Miriam more harshly because of who she was, because of what she was? I get it, and at first I recoil with that too. But the fact of the matter is, she had great responsibility put on her, and I understand that people think that pastors are all pulpit pimps and looking to get rich and all this stuff, easy living. And in some of the cases it is that. I hate to say it, there are some. Not all TV preachers are bad, though. I want to tell you that. Not all preachers who have done well. There are some that are bivocational pastors who have been very successful in their businesses. They have a business, they're successful. Maybe they inherit some money, I don't know. I can't judge that because I don't know each individual circumstance. But people will say, a pastor has a lot of stuff. Now, I live very, very, extremely modestly. However, I'm judged more harshly by God. Why? Because I'm standing here talking to you. Media Matters, a group called Media Matters, they're awful people. They follow me and they try to put little stuff in my website. We just went over 4,113,223 followers on DrShawngreener.com. And I don't know how many of those are Media Matters bots or whatever you call those things. I don't know what they are. But I have pretty extensive, as you might imagine with my background, pretty extensive malware and firewalls and yada yada, very high security. So I have a system that automatically roots those out, mutes them. And as a result, I don't see those. They become invisible. So I don't know how many of the million are people with nefarious intent. I don't know. But I know this, with 1 million followers, I'm responsible. Governor Northrop of Virginia, he's a Democrat. Now, he's a doctor, and he said he made a comment about abortion during a radio interview, but they just, they extract the baby if it's still alive, the attempt of abortion, then they have a conversation. They lay the baby to the side. They don't provide any care, and they have a conversation with the mother and the doctor as to what she would like to do. What is that? Are you just going to let a human life die? Now, he's a doctor. Do no harm. Do no harm. Hippocratic Oath. He's more responsible because we're all responsible for life or death, but he's the guy who knows, he or she, if it's a female doctor, it doesn't matter. But the fact of the matter is they are responsible. You can't escape that. Once you step into that role, you become responsible, and you had better know. I got to answer to this. More so than another people. And then look, when I say this about me or other pastors, preachers, public speakers, I don't think I'm any better. I don't think I'm any better than any of you. I'm probably one of the most jacked up dudes you'll ever meet in your life. Seriously, you probably won't meet. I'm number one. You won't meet anybody likely more jacked up than me. But the fact of the matter is, God says, hey, I'm holding you to a standard. You got to meet that standard. You got to exceed that standard. And if you fail, you're going to pay. And you're going to pay a greater price. This is what he did to Miriam. So just so you understand, people say, well, that's not fair. I don't know that I want to serve a God that's not fair. God is just. And just doesn't have to do with fair at all. That's why when a police officer commits a crime, they throw him under the jail. People at the thin blue line, I hear this all the time. I was a police officer, trust me. The biggest group of people that want to see bad cops pay dearly are police officers, good police officers. And there's so few of them. So few of them. I worked among both in the Navy and post-Navy, and then as a law enforcement officer. I can tell you I work with some of the best people. Man, they're awesome people. Was there maybe one or two during that time that were, yeah. But the bad ones generally got rooted out by the good ones. So let's set that aside. Let's let that go. But when you get caught doing something wrong, hey, even if you're doing something wrong, you did something wrong, and you didn't mean to, you're held to a higher account. Why? Because you're a police officer. Right? So now we have this issue where, yes, by the way, somebody just sent me a note and said, do you have hearing aids? I sure do. Saving for those for a long, long time, and now I can actually hear what I'm saying. So if before I was yelling at you and screaming, it was only so I wouldn't yell at you. It was because I couldn't hear myself. But I can now, and it's awesome. And I can hear birds that I never heard, that I don't remember hearing. I hear sounds that I did a video, a Facebook Live video, or I posted it to Facebook, video of standing at the woods during a real windy day this past week. It's not that long ago. If you search in my timeline or my feed or what, my timeline, yeah, you'll see it there. And what I did was I just listened. I had the hearing aids and I was just like, oh my gosh, what I've been missing so much. And then I walked through the leaves and you could hear the rustling of the leaves. Well, I didn't hear the rustling of the leaves before. And then I could hear the birds chirping. I couldn't see them, but I could hear them. And the wind whipping through the trees. Oh my goodness, was it ever awesome. I really, really am excited about it. So anyway, back to this. As ominous as it was, there are several words of encouragement offered to us as a testament to the guidance and protection of an eternal God. Remember, this is chapter 30, 11 through 30 of Deuteronomy. It is interesting and yet devastating to me that Moshe, or Moses, died on a mountain overlooking all that God promised and delivered to Moshe's people. Moshe was comparatively young. He was young and spry at age 120 years old. You say, well, that's crazy. That's nuts. Well, back then, they lived that long and longer. But at 120 back then, in this community, that was considered to have fulfilled your life at 120 years. But isn't it interesting that, yes, his work was complete, but he never got to see. He never got to go into. He got to see the promised land from afar, but he never got to go into the promised land. So he died at 120, having done what he was supposed to do. And he was buried in a secret location. I know many of you know this story, known only to God. He still is buried in a location known only to God. How about this? I just kind of mentioned this in passing, but how about 120 years? Moses lived 120 years, and then he just died because he did what Hashem, or God, had for him to do. Moshe didn't see the promised land, but from afar. He didn't see the promised land, but he did take up eternal residence in heaven. Oh, let me answer this. Some people are popping up messages. I have these things that pop up on my other computer screens. Why was Moshe buried in an undisclosed location? Well, I think this was, despite his greatness, he was still a man and he wasn't to be worshipped. He wasn't to be worshipped. God didn't want Moshe to be worshipped. Oh, well, maybe God knew. Maybe God knew that the devil would hate Moses so much, or Moshe, that he would desecrate his grave. And I think that's probably got a lot to do with it. Now, Deuteronomy reminds us to reflect on God's goodness and provision in our lives and rededication to his will and way in our lives when the times get tough. Let me say this about that. I've got a lot of nice letters from people. Let me get this going here. A lot of nice letters from people, really super nice people, wonderful people. saying, my goodness, you're so young. You know, I'm 53 years old. You're so young. This is unfair. This is really unfair. Hang on one second. I got to get this going. A lot of nice people are wanting to listen on Spreaker, and they can't tap in because I locked it down. As you know, I'm not really a tech guy. I kind of suck at that. Hey, Jim. Hey, Bill. A lot of people have said, you're so young, you know, how could this, aren't you angry? I get that a lot. Hey, Scott, classmate at Masters. We were at graduation together. Drove with his wife in a Mustang, rented a Mustang. Top down. It was awesome. He's an awesome pastor. A lot of people have said, you know, how did this, you know, this isn't fair. You were in this car crash and now you have this terminal disease. It's not really a disease. It's a condition. It's a disorder that comes about from the brain injury and it spreads to your body. But this is unfair. It's just unfair. It's patently unfair. And now you have this thing that's going to take your life a lot earlier. And I think about the words fair. You know, I think about Miriam. Now, I'm no Miriam. I'm no Moshe. And believe me when I tell you, it's not me being humble. It's not false humility. You know, my family members that watch this and listen to this, you know, they know. I'm not kidding around. My friends who listen to this, they know how my buddy Chuck Backus and I, well, we always make up words. Flicted. How flicted I am. It's afflicted, you know, but flicted. We say flicted. So, Sussex Countyism. And so they know. Everybody that knows me knows, you know. I'm so far from perfect. So the fairness thing, let's throw the fairness thing out. If fairness was the issue, then Miriam would have never been punished. And I would, because I deserve it. I deserve it. By the way, it just came out that President Trump is sending 3,750 of our best and brightest, our troops, to the Mexican border. Hoo-yah. Let's get it done. I support our president. And the State of the Union is on Tuesday evening. If I'm able, I'm going to be live tweeting at the Ninja Pastor. So if you don't follow me now, go there. If you're on Twitter, follow me. And you'll be seeing all the crazy stuff that I tweet out. Because I get fired up. I love the State of the Union. I think he's awesome. And this is sure to be a crazy one. So when we come to fair and we say, hey, you know, why in the world... Hey, Amanda, I think I missed saying hey to you. And Robert. Why in the world would I think that somehow I'm going to get some better deal, right? Some better deal somehow from God, because I did stuff for him. Well, I don't consider that I did stuff for him. There's nothing I could do to ever earn him to keep me alive one more day, let alone another year. You know, we set benchmarks and goals now. They're in months rather than years. They're in months rather than decades. Well, when I get to be, you know, whatever age. Hey, John, how are you? It's a different deal now. You know, you get that kind of news, you just kind of, okay, let's make this stuff count. One thing I don't do is I don't get embroiled in a bunch of stupid stuff. You know, and I'll have more to say. I'll do a video this week, let you know how this stuff I'm using, along with the other treatments that I get from Dr. Marangel, Dr. Carrick, Dr. Hudson, and Dr. Trent Ryan. This one's helping me a lot, and it's making the other things that we're doing much more powerful. But that said, I think I'm eating up time here. Let me see what time it is. Yeah, I'll hurry up. With that said, you know, I don't deserve a long life. I mean, I've almost been killed. I don't know how many times. I say this, and people think that I'm somehow or another being cavalier about it, but I'm really not being cavalier when I say I'm the luckiest man on the planet. I'm shocked that I lived this long. People that know me, people that I worked in the military and post-military and law enforcement, and since then, contracting work and different businesses and stuff. They're, you know, surprised I'm alive now. I'm the luckiest man in the world because I have such incredible friends. I have known what it's like to have best friends. I have incredible friends, honestly, of all ages, of all races, of all nationalities. I have had friends from all over the world. They're real friends. Now, let me say this about that. When you say real friends, are they a real friend or are they a Facebook friend? Now, we say that in jest, but there are some Facebook friends I have never ever met. Never. Now, I've had people come up at speeches and go, hey, I'm your Facebook friend. I love that. I love to meet them. I always want to get a picture made of me and them and all that. Not just for them, but for me. Because I think that's the coolest thing ever. Somebody sent me, and they didn't put their name on it, sent me a fruit bouquet this week. And they talked about the 3 decades of friendship. I was going to read it, but hey, Bruce, how are you? I hope you're continuing to be on the mend. And Rick, how are you? I hope you're doing well too. But it alluded to 3 decades of friendship, where they said you've so blessed me and been a lifesaver and all those things. And I don't know who it is because they didn't sign it. But I can tell you, I have a handful of friends that I've been close friends with for 3 decades and more. My buddy Chuck, we've been friends since I'm 53, and since 7th grade, maybe a little before. I mean, we've been tight. My buddy Dave Winters, and he and I are thick as thieves. I mean, that guy, I love that dude. And Jerry Summers, and I don't even want to start naming them because then I'll forget. I posted a picture earlier today of my buddy Eric Rickards. I'm sitting on the bench, and Jeanette, cute little thing, is sitting next to me with her arm around me. And that's Jake's wife, and Jake is Eric's son, one of Eric's sons. And we just had breakfast. We tied that joint up for 2 hours, laughing and talking about what high school was like. I've been knowing Eric since a young kid, you know. We were young. We were same grade. Eric's a black guy, and he used to say all the time that you're the blackest white dude I know, and I would retort to him, you're the whitest black dude. Now, people say now that that's a racist, un-PC thing. I think they're stupid. Me and my buddy Eric, now he's going on to his reward. He passed away. I was privileged to spend an awful lot of time with him the last 3 years of his life. And, you know, some of the stuff I'm talking about, like when you get your number, when you get your dash, and it could be any time between now and whenever, I purposely not said when that number is, and there's a reason for that. Maybe this week I'll share it with you. But I'm living my dash right now, and we're getting closer to that end number. And Eric had cancer, and it just kept coming back for him, over and over and over. And one of the things that when you get that diagnosis, you shed the pretense, you shed a lot of the political correctness, and at that time you realize just how stupid it is. It's just stupid. It's asinine for some other group of people to apply to you oh, you're doing wrong by doing this or that. It's okay for me to say he was the whitest black dude I've ever known, and it's okay for him to say that I'm the blackest white dude. I was pretty good at basketball too, and I know people can say, oh my God, I can't believe it. What are you doing? No, we talked about that. Me and him. That was how we conversed. That's how we did. And singing gospel music together. He played guitar, was in a great gospel band, traveled all up and down the East Coast. You know, that's just how we talked. That's not anybody else's business. And when you get closer to the end number of that dash, you realize the stupid stuff that people want to inject into your life, the political correctness they want to foist upon you, or whatever their label lynching deal is, that's none of their business. Tell them to pack sand. You know, part of the problem why Christians are so meek and such sheep now, why we're clawing and digging to try to get back the dignity of our faith, is because we have been too polite for too long. We've adopted the vernacular of the left and of the evil, and now the conversation is this Virginia Governor Northam, who is a physician. He sits on a radio and unapologetically talks about allowing a failed abortion, a full-term baby, to sit on a cold metal table while they have a discussion with the mother and the doctor about whether to kill it or let it live. Because that's her choice. That's the mama's choice. And that gets less fanfare than and I'm not defending the guy, but his medical school yearbook from 1984 has him in a Halloween costume or some kind of contest or some kind of thing that he was in, where him and the buddy was in a KKK outfit, and he was in blackface. Oh, my lands. Now, I don't like the guy. I can't stand him. He advocates horrible things. Horrible things. But you're going to get more upset about a stupid picture? You talk about unfair, fair, unfair? We allow this. We have allowed this to happen. You say, well, how do we turn the Titanic around? Well, you can't turn it around in a teacup. But somebody on one side of the Titanic will need to be rowing a little harder, because we got to whip that sucker around like a speedboat in flat Florida waters. You got to turn it hard. Kick up a little rooster tail, because we got hard work ahead of us. It's hard work, man. We got to stop quitting. We've got to stop quitting all the time. What's with all the quitting and the whining and the wringing of hands? We're sheepdogs. I know a lot of sheepdogs. There's a lot of sheepdogs listening right now. I'm proudly a sheepdog. Protecting the sheep from the wolves. We've polited our way into the wolves coming into Congress. Yeah, I'm going to talk about it. Why not? We've got 3 Muslims in Congress who are unabashedly anti-American. They're unabashedly anti-Jew. They're unabashedly anti-Constitution. And yet, we allowed them into our halls of Congress. We have people in Congress who will lie to the American people and say, Nancy Pelosi, well, yeah, you put these people back to work, and then we'll talk about a wall. We'll talk about border security. And then guess what she did? As soon as our president put them back to work, guess what happened? Hey, Alan, guess what happened? You know what happened. You watch the news. You pay attention. She went back on her word. You know why? Because she's a liar. And Schumer is a liar. And many of the other people in Congress are liars. They're liars. And they're lying on both sides. There's liars on the right and there's liars to the left. Got to be a song about that somewhere. At some point or another, we have to be willing to do what Joe Wilson did during a State of the Union speech and say, liar, and point to the president. Back then it was President Obama, and point out that he was lying in front of the whole world. And he was castigated. He was shoved aside. He was censured by the right and the left. That was wrong of him to do, and it was disrespectful for him to do, disrespectful of the office. But the man holding the office was indeed one of the worst liars our country has ever seen. And you might say, because I write for Quora, feel free to follow me there. Remember to click that upvote if you like what I write. I see all these anti-President Trump questions. I see all these things about what a liar he is. He's made promises and he's keeping them. You say, well, he hasn't built the wall yet. Good Lord. 2 years he's been in office. And he has faced just the opposition, the likes of which I don't think I've ever seen. I don't ever remember seeing an Obama shirt or an Obama hat and going up to somebody and saying some terrible thing. I don't ever remember looking in a restaurant going, you ought to get out of here. Your guy's a liar. Never. Not one time. I don't ever remember begrudging a group of people to gather wearing Obama shirts. Yet kids, 15, 14-year-old kids wear MAGA hats, and they're worse than the guy who stole valor and said he was in Vietnam and said he was a recon ranger or some kind of crap. That's the bad guy. That's the offensive guy. Their hats are more offensive than taking a baby and laying a baby out on a cold slab because it survived abortion. And then the conversation between the mother doctor and nurses and all of that. Well, should we let it live? What should we do? Hey, Ange. God bless you. Miss you guys. And how do we get to this place in America? How do we get here? How do we get to this place where that hat, the MAGA hat, is there are people on the right who are proud President Trump supporters who are afraid. They say, I'd wear a MAGA hat, but I don't want to get beat up. I'd wear a MAGA hat, but I don't want my car damaged. I'd wear a MAGA hat, I'd be more open at work about it, but I can't lose income. Listen, man, I get it. I have a friend that he's a political guy, he's a political consultant, and he has to stay down the middle. He has to, Trump derangement. You're right, Jennifer. Jennifer Serrano, American Girl, she's right. Trump derangement syndrome. It's a real thing. Listen, it's insane. It's insanity. It's disturbing. Meanwhile, morality, it's a vapor. It's a breath. These people in Deuteronomy, people throw rocks at the Bible, but it gave us the list. Said what we're supposed to do, what we're not supposed to do. Said this is what's going to happen to you if you do it. Remember 24, I talked chapter 24. I got more letters about chapter 24. Well, you're reading that wrong. Go to your Bible and read Deuteronomy chapter 24. Devarim is the actual name for Deuteronomy. Deuteronomon tuto, which is Greek. But the Hebrew name, which is the more appropriate, is Devarim. Go there, 24. Read what he says. Read what was given to the people about divorce. It's not what you've been told your whole life. I'm not advocating divorce. But let's stop lying about what's in the Bible based on what we perceive. Because that's what the left is doing to us. They are rewriting reason and morality. And they're giving us a new vernacular. And when we use the words they use, guess what? We progress them. The people being listened to, the people with millions of followers, AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, millions of followers. She's a loon. She's an absolute utter buffoon. Yet, she's followed. Laugh at her at your own peril. Laugh at her and all those like her at the country's peril. There is a price to be paid for doing those crazy things, and there is a price to be paid for us to sit silently. You say, what can I do? Dr. Sean, what can I do? Well, number one, don't stand for the label lynching. My buddy Mark Herr of the Center for Self-Governance, he coined that term, label lynching. Don't stand for it. Somebody calls you a racist as soon as you hey, Cousin John, as soon as you start winning the argument, don't stand for it. Let me say something really quick, too. A lot of us are afraid, and I say us, it doesn't include me because I'm not afraid of it, to call out something that the left is doing and say, well, I got skeletons in my closet. So does everybody. At one time or another, the skeletons are going to come out. Big old femurs are going to come flying out of my mouth. And I'm almost 6'4". I got long femurs. It's a big bone. You say, well, I don't want to point that out because I don't want to be a hypocrite. Listen. When a group of people stand up and applaud, being able, I was born 2.5 months premature. I was 4 pounds when I was born. They would have aborted me. And then some. When a group of people proudly and unabashedly stand up and applaud, being legally able to do that, lighting up buildings, well, it's a woman's choice. It's between the woman and her. No. If a woman, male, woman, whatever, you go out and you see a 4-minute-old baby, doesn't belong to you, you say, I don't know, eyes are too close together, and jam a pair of scissors in the base of their skull, and then open the scissors and snap the spine stem, the brain stem, that's murder. But somehow or another, we call it what it is. We don't call it what it is. We say it's a choice. Well, I'm pro-choice. Well, I'm pro-life. No, stop saying pro-choice. Say, I'm pro-life. I am not pro-abortion. I am not pro-murder. And no, I'm not throwing rocks at women who have had abortions. God redeems. If he redeemed me, he can redeem you. Believe you me. But I am telling you this, to applaud the murder of an innocent child. It's just the most insane thing I have ever heard in my life. The sad part of it is, it's disgusting. And on the late night shows, advocates of it are being applauded as heroes. A lot of you are shocked that I have friends that are on the left. And I sometimes I have to shake my head because I'm very careful about who I'm friends with. But a person that's virulently pro-abortion, and any of my friends, if they were pro-late-term abortion, man, I've got a news flash for you. They wouldn't be friends for long. Murdering the innocent. I don't care what your reasoning is. I don't care what your justification is. It's wrong, and it's horrible. And it's got to stop. Let me say one more thing and I'll be finished. 82% of all the babies in Wilmington, Delaware, inside a black woman's womb, don't survive the womb. Delaware's not the only city like that. The abortion rate for black babies is much higher than that for white babies. My friends, if you don't see that as a genocide, I don't know what is. Crazy thing about it is the people advocating for those things, Hillary Clinton, Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, all of these whack jobs, Pelosi. You tell me how Governor Cuomo has not been, hey Donna, welcome, brand new friend today. Glad to have you aboard. I'm sorry, I don't see how the Catholic Church can continue to accept Cuomo as a valid Catholic. Excommunicate him. I'm telling you right now, grow some cojones, Pope, and excommunicate the man. Look, if I were a black person, Eric and I used to talk about this all the time, about abortion. And he used to just shake his head and say, I don't understand how black people, his own people, keep voting in people that want to kill him. That want to make it easier for you to kill each other. They want to make it easier for you. They want to make it easier for you to kill each other in your own community because they want weak law enforcement. They want to make it easier for you to kill each other in your own community because they want to tie the hands of law enforcement. And they want to say the Republicans, all they want to do is come after you. The conservatives, they just want to come after you and lock you up. They want to put you disproportionately in jail. When they're the ones making it easy. Listen, Republicans, we got our own stuff. I used to be in the drug war, both before and after my police days, the drug war. And I can tell you, it's a joke. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. We got to get real about that discussion. I don't have time to do it today, but if I were in the black community, I would be looking at these leftists who are cheering the ruining of black families, the ruining. What if the cure to cancer is in one of those wombs? The baby part's sold for as much as $100,000. What if the cure to cancer is in a trash can, in a dumpster somewhere? That person could have found the cure. What if a person has found the cure to depression is now in a metal tin and then transferred to a bag that says medical waste and it's thrown into a dumpster or sold to the highest bidder? It's that bad. It is that bad. Indeed. The Bible tells us that these things will happen. That we're to fight until he comes again. That we're to be warriors. Next week I'm going to talk about Joshua. The book of the Bible, Joshua. In the meantime, thank you so much for so patiently listening. Thank you for being patient with all of our little glitches that we have here. Also, for those of you, I'll post it on in the comments. If you want to donate to what we do, the giving of the Bibles and all of the other stuff we do. I don't take money as a salary, so I don't get enough to do that. But if you choose to give, that would be awesome. In the meantime, for those of you going to watch the Super Bowl, hey, have a great time. Enjoy. If you drink, don't drive. Even if you're buzzed. Buzz driving is drunk driving, so don't do it. The other thing, I'm going to just say this. I wasn't going to say it, but I'm going to say it. Look, I have what I have, and it is going to shorten my life considerably. And you might look at me with some element of pity. But I'm going to tell you something. All of us have a number. All of us have a beating heart that one day will stop. And you may not get a warning. Live with this in mind. Something sacred hangs in the balance of every moment. Abraham Heschel was right. Something sacred hangs in the balance of every moment. God bless you and keep you. Thank you for listening. Share this if you will.